Our New York Post boxing reporter Jared Schwartz has a trending article out on the Post website about his interview with WBC middleweight champion Jermall Charlo and the toughest fight outside of the ring for him. So Jared joins us now. And Jared, the man got deep with you. He got real with you. I read the article, and to kind of paraphrase a line that you wrote in there, you wrote that it's been 30 months without a fight, and Charlo met his toughest opponent yet, himself. What battles is he fighting within himself going into his next fight?
Exactly, Brandon. Just like you said, that his greatest opponent that he's faced so far in his career and perhaps his life is himself. He was really honest. He spoke about mental health issues, drug and alcohol and substance abuse battles. What most stood out to me is he spoke about going through depression and going through bipolarness, where he'd feel extremely high and extremely low, and didn't really know how to handle that. One thing that was really poignant was he felt like everybody was against him. It didn't matter whether he was just taking a cab ride, whether he was just hanging out with his friends, whether he was with family. It didn't really matter. He just felt like everybody in the world was against him. And when you have that kind of mindset, it's tough to focus on a career, and it's almost tough to live your life. And he was really honest about learning patience, learning that everybody is not against you. It's just kind of how you're feeling in the moment. And really about not coping with some of those battles with alcohol, with, substance abuse. And he thinks he's in a much better place now, ready to return to the ring after 30 months. One thing he said is he finally feels like his mental ability and his physical ability have kind of matched up, and he's never really felt better in that respect.
Yeah, I'm glad that he opened up to you and got some of that stuff off his chest, because, I mean, from the outside looking in, undefeated, he's the future of boxing. People probably think that he has it all. And that everyday fight within ourselves is the real challenge for these athletes and just people in general. I read the article, man, and he opened up about he and his twin brother, Jermell. I mean, these two have dominated boxing for quite some time now, and they're perhaps the best family duo in the sport, but that relationship isn't what it once was. How's he handling that, and does he think that those two will be able to fix whatever beef that they have?
Yeah, Jermell kind of, revealed some of that before his own fight when he, moved up 2 divisions and challenged Canelo Alvarez for the super middleweight title last month, which he lost. But a lot of people thought that fight should come against Jermall. He usually fights one weight class above Jermell. He was closer to Canelo in weight, and Canelo kind of revealed that it probably should have been Jermall, but his own issues kind of got in the way. And Jermell revealed before the fight that they've kind of grown apart during these 2 years that Jermall has been outside of the ring. The two of them like to call themselves, lions only, that they're lions in the ring. And Jermell kind of bluntly said that Jermall's actions kind of tarnished their name a little bit and kind of distracted a little bit from that lions only and that Charlo name that fans have grown accustomed to being champions and great champions and vicious fighters. Jermall said there's no, ill will necessarily. He said, they're twin brothers. They love each other. He said, Jermell might not have seen some of those battles he was going through. He just kind of saw, what was on the surface and his actions. But he did say, for a while they didn't really speak and they weren't on speaking terms. A positive step was that Jermall was at the fight for Jermell against Canelo. I think a telling sign will be if Jermell is at this fight for Jermall, and how they interact. But they're on speaking terms again, but it's certainly not fully repaired, and it's still on the way back to being repaired.
Yeah, the relationship with his brother, the relationship he has with friends, family, everything that he's going to, that's just going to be something he has to take day by day. And I'm not like trying to preach to him or anything, but the fact that he's opening up to you and talking about this means that he's on some sort of, I guess, road to recovery. I don't know if that's the best phrase to use, but he does understand that he's got work within himself to do. And what did he tell you about his next chapter, not only in boxing, but the game of life?
I said, how much is there still to accomplish? He's been a champion. While this fight is not for his WBC middleweight title, he's been a champion for a long time. And I kind of asked, how much is still ahead of you? You're coming back after a 2-year hiatus. How much do you still want to accomplish? And he kind of threw it right back to me and said, "You tell me. What is there still left for me to accomplish?" But he says he feels physically great. One thing he said is by not fighting for 2 years, he didn't get punched for 2 years, so his body feels good. And now, like I said, with his kind of his mental side matching up with his physical side, he feels like there's a whole nother chapter to write. A whole nother just part to his legacy almost that, perhaps the best is yet to come with him.
So what do you think is next, or the next thing for him to accomplish?
This fight is at 163 pounds instead of the traditional 160-pound middleweight. And it's likely a precursor to him moving up to 168 pounds to super middleweight, which is the division that Canelo Alvarez fights in and is the undisputed champion in. And look, he had an opportunity to fight Canelo last month and couldn't because of his issues outside of the ring. Now, if he feels he's ready and makes that move up to super middleweight, that's still a fight that would draw a lot of interest, and certainly you can sell the angle of him kind of avenging his brother's loss, if you will.
Well, it's going to be great to see him back in the ring, live out in Vegas on Showtime pay-per-view. That all starts at 9 p.m. Jared Schwartz, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Brandon. Always a pleasure.